The slightly worn out adage is the best camera you have is the one you have on you, which generally speaking is your smartphone. But what about stabilizing that smartphone? Well, maybe we could say the best gimbal you have is the one that's on you. Today we're looking at the brand new Insta360 Flow. Now, why is this the best one I have on me? Because it fits in my pocket. Here it is, right there. So check this thing out. It's very simple. It's as easy as taking off the magnetic mount here. Let me just slip it in my pocket for a second while I attach the phone. You look on here and then you'll see on one side there's a picture of a camera, which means that you want to have that pointing towards the camera. So you just take it from here, snap it open, and I've even got the case on my iPhone here. And you'll see there's a little ridge here. What you want to do is make sure that ridge fits the indent. And it's as simply as just snapping it on magnetically. Now, turning this on is a cinch. All you need to do is just unfold it and automatically it will turn on. So now we have a 3-axis gimbal which stabilizes this phone on the 3-axis. So the 3-axis is pan, tilt, and roll. Now when you load up this gimbal, what it does is it enables you to hold your phone straight. And you can see right now, even though I'm moving this thing around like crazy, this is nice and stationary. So there's a bunch of functionality in the app, but we'll get into that in just a moment. The other thing that we want to look at first of all are the different modes in the gimbal. So one of the things about this is it has a built-in selfie stick. All I need to do is just pull this up, and I can also tilt it so I can use it like this. And another thing, this is the only gimbal that has a built-in tripod. If I reach into the bottom here, I can pull this out, and then I could open up these feet and I can sit it down on a level surface, and I can use this to actually track me. So it has auto tracking built in, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So the nice thing about that is there, but also if you look in here, there's a 1/4-20 under here. So I could also attach this to a tripod if I wanted to kind of work that way. Okay, looking at the different modes that are available on here, you'll notice there's a little switch here and there's a trigger. Now this trigger, if I push this trigger, and what it will do is it will lock this in position. So I'm in lock mode right now, and no matter what I do, that phone is just gonna stay nice and stable and not move. So this is great, you know, if you're walking around and you don't want any movement on here, you just wanna lock it in position nice and tight, like a walking tripod, so to speak. Okay, so there's 4 different modes. There's auto, follow, pan follow, and FPV. In follow mode, as I rotate, the phone will slowly pan with me and will also tilt. Look at that. Then if we go into the next mode here, which is our pan follow, as I'm going up and down, this phone will stay nice and level. But if I'm going left to right, it will still pan. And the motors will pan slowly and enable me to track motion that way nice and smoothly. Let's go into the other mode here, which is our FPV. Now FPV will enable us to rotate. So this will be kind of like, you know, if we were going in and we were flying a drone. So here we go, this is FPV mode, and you can notice it can kind of fly almost like it's going through. And of course this will also do the pan and the tilt. So auto mode is one of those, you know, set it and forget it modes. So when you turn it on, it will follow you, it'll do the pan, it will do the tilt. But what it will do is if I'm moving slowly like I am right now, it's gonna give me bigger movements. But if I'm running, then these movements are gonna be less sensitive, so it doesn't, you know, just keep moving around when you're running. So it detects what kind of movement you're doing and then will automatically adjust to that. And in fact, for most situations, this is gonna be a really good setting to use. But one of the things I like to do is I like to hit the trigger and I like to just lock this in. And then if I decide I'm turning, then I will let the mode kind of kick in, make that turn, and then lock it in and continue. So, you know, just bear in mind, you know, this trigger is very, very useful. The trigger can do quite a few different things. If I take this trigger and I double tap, it will center the phone. If I triple tap, it will spin it around. So now I'm using the better camera for shooting myself. Double tap will bring it back. Now there's other things we can do here. There's other buttons. If I decide to tap this button, what it will do is it will flip the camera. So instead of using the backward facing camera, now it's using the front camera and it's pointing towards me. So this is good for selfie stuff. But remember, if I want the high resolution, tap 3 times, flip that whole phone around. Now, another thing I can do here is I just tap once, it'll go back. If I double tap, this will go between portrait and landscape modes. So double tap again, landscape, double tap, portrait. So TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, you all want to be shooting vertical. So we can easily switch into that mode, shoot those short little videos. So even though we can just close it or open it to automatically power it on or off, if we want to power it off while we've got it here, all we need to do is just click and hold on the power button and it will shut everything down. And in addition to this virtual dial, there's actually a real one on the outside and it can do a couple of different things. Let's move this into FPV mode. So when we're in FPV mode, if I turn this, notice I can actually rotate the phone. And another cool thing about this wheel is when I'm in any other mode other than the FPV mode, if I'm shooting, I can actually turn this and I can use this as a zoom. So it starts to zoom in and you can see here, it's gonna zoom in through all the different cameras. And this could be fun, like, you know, maybe I'm trying to do the Hitchcock thing. Let me see if I can do that. You know, what'd you call that? Vertigo kind of thing. And the other thing is a little joystick here. I can use the joystick to tilt the cameras up or down or side to side. So it's very kind of standard on most gimbals. You'll kind of find that. So if you want to work that way, it's quite nice. But now one of the things that's really good is the AI tracking. And in fact, I'll show you, you know, some different stuff that I've done with this. So one of the things you can do is if you want the AI tracking, you just literally draw around it with your finger. You take a little rectangle and that will set the place where you want to auto track. And as I move around, this is going to track that. It's going to rotate, it's going to tilt. So it's going to do whatever it needs to do to keep that in the frame. And I really don't have to do much else. I can just walk around, the subject can move, and this will pan and follow the subject, which is quite nice. Now, one of the nice things about this tracking though is person re-identification. Right here, my subject is going behind these pillars and it's still picking her up as soon as she comes back. What's even more impressive, there are other people in the frame, and then when Natasha comes back in, boom, it grabs her again. All right, let's look at some of the accessories. There's an available rubber grip that you can get, which you can put on here, which just makes it a lot more comfortable to work with. So one of the things it has here is a little door which pops open, and there's a cold shoe mount. And on here we can mount accessories such as the Rode Wireless Go. We just slip it there into the cold shoe mount and it just sits there on the gimbal. We can connect it to the phone and now we have good quality audio. Another option which comes inside the Creator Kit is this light. So if you don't have enough light, we can simply plug this into the USB-C at the bottom. You'll see a little groove here that'll fit in the groove. You grab the two sides and it'll snap onto the edge of the phone. And as soon as we snap that on, you'll see there's the light. Now this light has 3 dimmable modes and 3 color modes. So if we tap on one side here, we can change the color temperature warm, cool, or medium. And on the other side here, we can go from 3 different levels of brightness. So you might notice that this is pointing in the same direction of the phone, which is great if I'm using the front-facing camera. But what if I want to use the high-quality rear-facing cameras? Well, this actually rotates. And then we can have it working that way. Quite simple. And another thing that's really useful, you'll see that USB, we can also plug in there and plug directly into the phone. And then we can actually charge the phone while we're shooting, so that way we don't have to worry about the battery going dead on the phone, which can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. You'll see another USB-C slot here next to the controller, and that's where you plug it in to charge it. All right, why don't we have a look right now at some of the functionality of the app. And to connect to the app is very simple. All you need to do is just launch the Insta360 app right here on the phone. It will see the gimbal and it will automatically connect. Now let's have a look at the different settings and different things that we can do. All right, when we're in the app, all we need to do is tap on the camera and it will connect. So under the general setting, we can turn on things like the grids, the histograms, but then different things like pop-up connection, scene recognition. The scene recognition actually uses the AI to detect what we're shooting and give us hints and help us with the shooting. So if we click on tutorial here, it'll get us getting started tutorial. We're going to exit that tutorial right now. And there's operation guide, all that kind of stuff is in here. And if you're shooting a pano and you want to save the photos individually as well, then turn that option on. and we're going to hit the flow settings. So as you know, we have the ability to change the different modes. We can also select these modes directly through here on the app. We can control the speed that I mentioned before, the joystick speed, also the speed of the zoom, and the tracking, like how sensitive do you want it? We can go sensitive, or we can go normal. And this is where we enable the tracking, and always on tracking is really interesting. We can automatically calibrate it and adjust the horizontal axis to make sure it's nice and level. So here's our camera settings. We can do auto or manual. If we go into manual, we have the ability to change these settings. Now, if you look at the bottom here, you can see we're in video mode, which means up here when we see resolution, this is giving me available video resolutions. Now, if I tap the screen, we'll see there's other options. I can turn the light on here, which will turn on the light of the mobile phone, which is different than the accessory. But if I move into other settings, like say I choose pano mode here, notice up there the settings change at the top, but also down the side here, I can choose what type of panorama, 360 panorama, 180, we can choose those. And also we have the ability to do time between each shot. All right, so if we go in here, we can choose a photo mode, and in tapping up the top will enable us to choose different aspect ratios. Video we've already looked at, but then we can go into slow motion, so we can slow down that video. We can go into widescreen mode for video, time lapse, and of course, when we're in time lapse, we can set all our settings here, which is our intervals. So basically it sets up an intervalometer for us, so we can do those beautiful time lapse. Then we can do time shift. Time shift is like a time lapse, but you're actually moving, and I've got an example here. It's actually really quite smooth, and it works quite well. It takes all the photos, and then it just kind of puts them together nice and smoothly. And then you have the ability to hit on live mode if you want to shoot live. Now, one of the things that's really amazing is see this little icon up here that shows the film thing. If we go into here, we can go into the Shot Genie. The Shot Genie is quite amazing. You can actually tell it what you're shooting, and it will give you suggestions. Rather than have it trying to detect my voice right now because I'm talking, why don't we just go into the library, and I'll show you some of the things that are available. So some of the things that are available is, say we're at the city since it opened, and you can see there's the shot. So if you look at this, what it's doing is it's actually creating a film, and that film is made out of shots. And you can actually go into the individual shots, and it will play that shot over and over again, and it'll give you information about the shot so you can replicate something for yourself. You see each shot. So the Shot Genie has many, many different shots throughout its libraries, and you can look at it and you can actually learn how to get great shots and how to create films. And if you want to film, you hit on I want to film. So when you go in here, the Shot Genie literally is going to help you. You can hit on the text. It will show you what to do, and then you'll get an example here. And of course, you can swipe through the different types of shots and use the Shot Genie to actually have you tell a little story with your film, and of course we can use the AI to help us with the editing. So one of the things I also love about it is the price point. It comes in at $159 in the United States, so it's very affordable. So personally for me, if you're someone that like to get good quality vacation shots, or you're hanging out, or you're doing some sports, with your friends, or maybe you're a YouTube creator and you're looking for a way to get better smartphone shots, this is definitely the way to go. Personally, I am going to be using this, if for nothing else, putting it down on the tripod and having it kind of tracking me a little bit as I'm doing some shots. Another thing that you could do is if you are using a bigger gimbal and a bigger camera gimbal, the functionality here is pretty much the same. So this is a great way for you to practice without, having a huge, heavy amount of gear, and you can practice your gimbal work and really perfect it. So everything you learn using this little gimbal will transfer over to those larger gimbals with the heavier cameras. So anyway, I'm curious your guys' thought. Let me know in the comments underneath. And once again, if you got any value or learned anything new, hit that subscribe button and you won't miss any more of my tutorials or tech reviews. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you at the cafe.